Hey, what's up? This is Greg from Take Offense. We just had a record come out on Pure Noise Records called Keep an Eye Out. If you haven't listened to it yet, please do.
What is wrong with you if you haven't listened to it yet?
Yeah, dude. But don't stare at the eyeball too hard or you'll end up like Joe from the Stoned Age who stopped jumping on the grenade. And, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if kids that follow Pure Noise even know what Stoned Age is, which is sad.
A straight to VHS 1994 movie, the greatest movie of all time.
No.
Are you aware, Daniel?
Well, it's like if you watch the Stone Age and then Kung Fu Hustle came out and
and while you're roasting a marshmallow and listening to the second E-Town record, that's perfect.
No,
for
get
real,
that. Everyone get that. Take offense. Support your scene. Support your Greg.
Yeah, support
Yes.
your Greg.
Just support Greg's in general because
Yeah.
you don't really run into that many
Shout out to Greg's in England.
Do you know how
vegan
long-
sausage roll?
Do you know how long it takes to write a good solo? No, you don't. So give Greg your money.
Yeah.
Give Pure Noise your money, and some will filter to Greg eventually.
No, if you are a fan of Take Offense, I think you will really like this record because it's definitely the band pushing it as much as we can musically, creatively, and still trying to still not losing our identity in it and all of it. So I'm very proud of it. It's took a couple years in the making, and yeah, it'd be great if you could listen. Tell a friend or two.
Yeah,
Support a Greg.
support your Greg.
Support Greg
Yeah,
and Greg's.
If you want to support this podcast, please like, rate, or review wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, please consider going to patreon.com/185 miles south. Become a Patreon. You can donate $1 a month, $3 a month, or whatever you can. You can also go to paypal.me/185 miles south and do a one-time donation. We're trying our best to put up a few things for Patrons. Some stuff, if we feel like we talk about it and it's too sensitive for the masses, put it on for those grown folk that throw down at least $1 a month. They get that bonus content.
Also, if you see Zach at a show, or even if you just see him out on the street, give him $1 or two.
Dude,
just put it inside his shirt.
Don't rub it in. You know, this begging shit really fucking bothers me.
Yeah,
It really fucking bothers me.
I want to
hate
hear
it.
a good story
Yeah,
of
cut
someone
out
coming up and giving you 35 cents.
You can cut out the Patreon middleman by just giving Zach $1 or $3 directly, because Patreon has to take a percentage of that
Yeah,
dollar.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. Like, look, man. There's fixed costs. There's fucking variable costs. You know, when I
There's
travel
a
around.
soundboard that has this on it.
Yeah, that wasn't cheap either.
That Zach had to pay for, so, and all those royalties we got to send out to the RTL.
Yeah. So anyway, if you don't know, this is going to be another one of those episodes where we go through the greatest records, and I'm generally right, and Daniel's generally also right, and so is Greg. So
No, he's trying to fucking shade me before 400 Miles North comes out and just takes over the podcast game.
it makes everyone stop stage diving.
I think you need to get a horse sound clip, so then as soon as you hit the Richter Life one, you can just hit like a.
That's good. Yeah. All right. Well, let's fucking do this, dude.
"185 Miles South", a hardcore punk rock podcast.
All right. We are back with. You get it?
Yeah.
Did you test it? I feel like your body's high.
Yep. Don't ever say that to me. My body is never high.
Praise be Jah. Nah, just our lips are closer to the mic than yours.
There.
You still kind of on. You hear it anytime you talk, kind of opens up.
Oh, because it's slowing down.
I don't know if it's
Do you
the
have
fan.
do you have anything else going?
What else could possibly be going?
Well,
Oh, it's that fan.
I think you got.
Maybe we can turn on this fan and have that one be off.
Yeah.
All right.
Max Woodcote break room with the cat piss scent everywhere.
You miss sweat your balls off of that room, huh?
Now we're just in Zach Nelson's wonderfully furnished apartment.
Yeah, dude.
The ceiling fan is fine.
I think so too, huh?
And if you have a complaint about the ceiling fan being too loud, then you can have a Patreon's only ceiling fan dubbed out special.
Yeah, or more Patreons than I can afford air conditioning.
And for a smoker, I can't smell anything in here.
You smoke?
Only fucking crack.
Well, judging by some of your picks for this pod, I may think that's the truth.
Whoa!
I got a weed spot over here. I got a weed spot over there.
I'm surrounded by the weed spots, bro.
So this is another podcast where we're going through the greatest records of a decade. And this one we're doing the noughties.
Yep, the 2000s to 2009.
Yep, 2000, 2009. And we're all over the place on this one. Because music's breaking wide open, huh? Like in the 90s, everything is very different.
Yeah.
And you're kind of riding for something. And in the 2000s, kind of everyone's starting to like a little bit more of everything.
I think the 90s, you have your, like I said before, like your enclaves. This is the thing that I'm the most psyched about, but I'm going to go see these bands anyway because we have a scene we have to maintain. Whereas in the 2000s, there's now a bit of blowback to the 90s where it's like, well, I remember when hardcore was like this. And, post like 97, and then you start seeing, bands honing a sound before they've even like figured out their sound. You know what I mean? We want to sound like this.
Well, it got a lot less political for sure.
Yeah.
And the internet
changes everything.
Just absolutely changes this whole thing.
It's like Greg said on a former pod. If I want to sound like side B of the breakdown demo, like I have the resources to figure out exactly how to do that.
But that's also later 2000s, right? Like,
yes.
Like I'm notoriously late on things. Like I'm like the last guy to get a smartphone and shit. I got high-speed internet in 06. So I did half this decade without high-speed internet.
Yeah, and I would say to your comment about, I want to sound like the B-side to whatever,
Yeah.
New York hardcore demo that no one would have been able to get unless you were a New York hardcore dude in the 90s or 80s for that matter. I would say maybe 2006, 2007, especially 2008 when just the blogosphere like media file sharing thing went up. It was just, you just Googled literally whatever you wanted and you had a media fire link to it. So that just opened it all up for if you were a younger kid, you're like, oh, I don't need to rely on, the older heads in my scene or my older brother or this one guy at a record store. Like I can just get it all. So that is generally why things are so wacky right now.
Yeah, and that came after like the Napsters and the Soul Seeks, right? Like the blog shit.
Without a doubt.
And the nice thing about the blog thing, what I was gonna say with that, Greg, is not having to rely on like older heads and stuff to like explain things to you. A lot of those blogs, like they would kind of give you a paragraph about the record too.
Yeah, they would write cool descriptions. I'm trying to remember.
You could like go zero to or go from poser to fucking scene veteran in like a weekend.
I remember this guy. Oh, sorry, this guy. I think it was called Stuck in the Past.
I think he still does it. That one was awesome.
He was cool because he would actually kind of remix some of those. And not when I say remix, just kind of maybe EQ it a little better so it wasn't as rough sounding. But then he would actually put really cool descriptions. So that was
yeah. There was a guy. Yeah, it was either that guy or I think there was a guy that did like Blogged and Quartered.
Yeah,
and he would make like insane discographies of bands. Like he did like the whole Life's Halt catalog, and like, but he would write about it like he was a music fan. These people are like the apex of music fans that are like I don't know. They're organizing their MP3 files. Like that's a level of beyond alphabetizing your record collection.
Yes, these were much more like tiny tiny little corners of the internet, and then you had the bigger things like Double Cross and a few other things that would, you know, you'd heard the main records from these bands and they were talking, but then you'd hear this, you know, they would link like hard to get tracks or things like that.
Yeah.
Whereas we're talking about this now, like, yeah, Greg's era like thrived on this, and my geriatric era is like, how do I figure out how to find this blog, like, for real?
Yeah, like it's like really hard to like fill out a CAPTCHA.
Well, my friend,
What do I put in?
Dude.
my friend Jeff,
Find all the cars. I found all the cars. I got to do it again.
How to make sure you're not a fucking robot, man.
Yeah, dude.
my friend Jeff Jock is good at the internet, right? But every time I
Good
ask
at many
him,
things.
How
yeah,
good?
good at a lot of things. But every time I ask, good at being shitty to me. Anytime I ask him a question of, hey, where could I get this? He's like, Google. He just responds google.com. You know, he's like, duh, you should know this, but fuck, you know, you need to be shown sometimes.
Old
you know?
habits, man.
Yeah. So
I'd rather look for the, you know, a bootleg record or something. You know, or it just, I don't know. I just, yeah, some things pass me by. That's why, like, some of the later things maybe I just haven't paid attention to enough. You know?
well, it's even hard to know sometimes. Like I turned 40 in January, and like a band will play town, and I won't even know about it. It's like I'm on Instagram. You know, like people have my phone number. Like, how do I not find out about like a band playing with Shay? You know, like I actively record shop. So I'm not seeing a flyer.
At the ripe age of 31 right now, that is now starting to happen to me.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
and
crazy.
You're just not.
It's also
You're
because
just
you're
not
not at the
tied
Che
in.
every night.
Yeah, you're
where
just.
you used to be, or I used to be.
That's true. That's
You're
true.
not just. You're really just not tied in because really just other shit is going down in your life. You know, you have other things you got to do, which it's funny because 17, 16-year-old me is. Like, fuck you, man.
Yeah,
like,
stabbing yourself in the back.
I don't know if you would have been though, because you always want people to participate who's like heart is in the right place.
No,
You
without
know?
a doubt. But
you're at shows like even when you're 20 and you're like all the way
Yeah.
into it, and an older
that's
guy
someone else.
shows up.
You think that you're going to be different. I remember saying at the last Over There Buddy show, you will see us at every show going forward. It's just not reality.
Yeah,
I
you
still
just,
go to
you just
shows.
ghosted everybody, huh? Didn't you?
I think it was all. I mean, I still go to shows. So whatever.
We all do. We all do.
Daniel left the scene on red.
Daniel goes to see Judge and doesn't get sweaty.
True.
So, anyway, let's jump into the Hall of Fame, huh? Yeah, this is the Hall of Fame for the 2000s.
And what we're talking about Hall of Fame here, there are two tiers kind of what we think when we think of Hall of Fame. There are records that are undoubtedly like game changers slash, you know, that they basically have to be recognized. Mm-hmm. And then there are also things in this Hall of Fame where if all three of us would have had it on our list, it gets Hall of Famed. Doesn't mean that it's necessarily a game changer.
Yeah, well, I would say that 3 of the 4 of these are game changers.
The third out of the 4 is the one I'm saying is not necessarily a game changer.
Yeah, so we can talk about the first, and that is Madball, Hold It Down.
I think it's time we take the stand, show them what we made. You can't stop this thing of ours. Oh, and down, this thing is ours, all core is ours. Oh, and down, time after time, line after line.
Came out in the year 2000. Not a game changer because Madball already changed the fucking game, right? And this is their 4th LP and possibly their greatest LP.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to do a record this good as your 4th LP. And I hate to say it, but the 3rd LP I think slipped a little bit. You know, the first 2 are like insane. The 3rd one, they're just trying to like...
There's no question that it slipped, and there's no question that this LP came out of nowhere to, whoa, have you heard the new Madball? Like,
yeah, it's insane.
Like,
Well, this
and
is-
it's on Epitaph, and you're like, what?
But Look My Way still has like, coming off the first two, I got Look My Way. I was not disappointed.
No.
Like the title track's insane. Like the third track on it, they like dip in a little of that Hipster mosh. Like they're going somewhere with that record. It's just not as good as the first two. And then this one comes out and it's like, holy fuck. If I didn't have so much sentimental value to the first two, this is probably the best Madball record.
Well, for Look My Way, I mean, it's kind of hard to just knock that third one out of the park when you fucking do set it off. It demonstrated my style for 1 and 2. I mean,
But how do you do number 4? How do you bounce back?
But
And
I
it's
think
like,
you
I think you
reassess.
learn from number
Exactly.
3. And you
I
go,
know, but that's usually when it goes all wrong. Is like you try to branch out a little bit on the third one, and you're like, oh, let's fully autocorrect and go back to a formula, and then it just sounds stale and lame. And they came back with like the most like urgent record they did.
Well, I think one factor is Matt Henderson writing with Epitaph quality studio. You know, like knowing, okay, let me form these songs. 2, I know it weirdly, like, largely says this on the back of the record, but executive producer by Roger. You know, Roger probably has that ability to go, here's what kind of doesn't work with Look My Way. Here's what we need to hone and, like, work on this harder. Let's, and was just probably taskmastering, pushing them.
it's also Henderson's last hurrah.
Yeah.
with
And he
it, so-
produces, too.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he went into it. I don't personally know this story, but maybe he knew his time was ending with that, and maybe he was like, okay, I'm gonna like swan song this one.
Well, and also I don't know shit, but I'm guessing maybe him and Hoya like co-write a lot of stuff, and maybe Henderson didn't do a lot of, maybe who knows what he did on Look My Way, and because he was actually, I think he might have been out of the band before this record happened, but he was still like writing. Right, it's kind of like Todd was out of Terror, but he wrote the second record still.
Yeah,
I think that is the case with this.
So
And he produced this.
yeah, and it might also be like he knowing, I don't know, he might have had a little more YOLO going on.
Yeah.
If he's like, my last hurrah, like I'm just
Also,
YOLO, I'm going for it.
There's a massive factor we're not really attributing to why this is the best. Freddie, like, is in absolute domination of how the vocals should be. Like,
Oh, his vocals
yeah.
are perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
bounce, the swagger, the to go hard and then ease off for this line and then to come back like,
no, I think this is when they get exactly like peak form.
Yeah.
Like
This
it's
is-
been building up. Like Set It Off is super, like him just being young, raw. Going
He's doing a
for it.
voice, like we said, right?
Yeah, and then Demonstrating My Style, you're starting to hear it, looking, and then this is when it just gets like it's a finely tuned instrument
It's
now.
perfect,
Like he
it's
knows
them.
how to just completely work it.
finely tuned instrument, and also the ability you can hear in the vocal delivery the ability to hold a big stage at a venue, like as a frontman. The confidence and stuff that is going into the vocals is a an unheard factor, but it is in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's maybe full swagger not only in the vocals but also in the songwriting.
Yeah,
It's just there. It's an amazing record. So that would be the one that we don't consider a game changer, but is definitely Hall of Fame because
and we're all like,
how can you not
geeked on
have it?
talking about it right
yeah,
now?
I mean, it's amazing. And it is now if you don't have any Madball records today and you're trying to buy them, I think it might be the hardest to get.
on vinyl, especially.
Yeah, because everything else has been repressed, and that one never got repressed. So
And if I just had to sum it up, just remember you don't need baggy jeans or a hardcore shirt.
is that the skit?
That's like one of the like little opening clips. I just always love that one. It's like you don't need baggy jeans or a hardcore shirt.
Yeah, I mean that would be the one knock of the record would be like that skit in the middle is silly.
Well, there's the song that's just fuck yeah.
Yeah, the one they're making fun of like the kid in the house or the basement or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song that comes after the fuck you.
It's the best Madball song there is, I think. Like,
Yeah.
I
I don't know. I could. We one day we'll have to talk about that. We
It's
do a
just-
whole
We
pod.
used to do a whole podcast on Madball
Yeah,
songs.
top
It's
10
the-
Madball songs.
it's the pace
Yeah.
and bounce and the
I mean, that song is just full fucking swagger.
yeah.
It's hardcore at its apex peak of like, one of the things that I always didn't like about hardcore that I love about hip hop is like, hip hop, the guys that are good at it can say they're good at it, right? And like hardcore, you don't have that swagger because everything's like, it's a beautiful thing.
What's number 5 on your list?
Well, you're circling back to like, you know, like, oh well, I'm only here because this guy helped me out, and like this, my influence is this and that, and like, there's none of that. Like, dude, I'm the fucking best. Like, I am the shit at this, and like, I feel like that Madball song, you feel it just in the music. Like, dude, listen to this fucking. We're just jamming with drums and bass and like a ring out, and we're better than everything on the fucking planet.
Well,
No, that's what you said, swagger.
Yeah.
it's weird. It's like when that song comes on, your hat can be pointing straight to the front, but it starts veering like 8 degrees to the left
just
the
a
minute
little,
that
just a
song
little bit
starts.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Daniel. You reference this Hall of Famer a lot, especially in the 90s pod, and that is the first Terror record, Lowest of the Low, 2003.
Yeah. So it's a re-record of everything that had come earlier, as well as one new song that is just a face melter.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of, it's like the demo plus like some 7-inch tracks, and then they go in. There's a few new songs, I think, right? There's Lowest of the Low and a couple other.
I really thought it was all you'd heard everything before except for Lowest of the Low, but I may be wrong. That's my always been my opinion, was just that Lowest of the Low was the brand new song.
Okay.
But you could be right. I mean, you spoke to Todd recently. But this is the blueprint for the next 15 years of hardcore. Like,
I mean, through today of straightforward hardcore, right?
yeah, well, heavy, basically for the mosh part and the breakdown to be arguably the most important, like, it's the hook of the song.
I would call it the satisfaction
Yeah.
of the O's. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's Hatebreed meets Revelation.
Yeah.
It's like Hatebreed plus more of like the Youth Crew ish,
yeah, and
especially on this record.
I gotta give it to him, and just Nick's fucking drumming on this record is just so fast, and and I think that's what gives it just this little more crazier sound than like if this record would have been recorded in Connecticut or like the East Coast or the Midwest. Just, you know, Nick having that like SoCal fast approach to the drumming, like when you hear him, like I always say, the 16th on the hi-hat, like that, it's just ripping. So
Well, it's coming right after American Nightmare, where Carry On was like kind of neck and neck with them, you know, speed wise, right?
It's exactly that. It's exactly the fact that Nick comes out of Carry On, and, you know, there's those Todd style breaks, like,
Yeah.
and then it goes to another, you know, into a different riff. That's what makes it the Rev reference, you know, like the Youth Crew, but on
It's like ADD.
yeah, Youth Crew on like 100 mile an hour though,
Yeah.
as well as
Like
but then when the breakdown comes, they don't hide that it's going to come around the corner. There's a build to every single one of them, and they're perfect.
And I got to quote Rick Benavides here, singer Done Again. I remember he said this to me. He was like, it showed like punk kids that they could like heavy, more mosh orientated stuff, because that was probably still a real clear divide where you were like, no, I don't want to go, you know, get kicked in the face by some of these dudes. And then it also shows dudes that are just like straight meatheads, like that speed and aggression and like the fast. Yeah, so I remember that really stuck to me.
Yeah, well, I would say that Hatebreed, what I was glorifying about them before was that they get in and get out, right? It's like a race to the mosh, right? Which is amazing for them. And what you have with Terror is you have the closest thing to that, but Todd feels comfort in the speed. So for him, like where Hatebreed, they're like their safe place is dun 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 dun. They're waiting to get to that. Todd can write insane breakdowns, but his safe place is when you're riffing and going fast. So the bands, even though they're maybe the closest two bands, like, or let's say these two albums are the closest to each other.
Because of the game-changing factor as well.
Yes, but I would say that the Terror leans on the speed and Hatebreed leans on the breakdown.
And the thing that makes the Terror so effective on the speed, though, is the fact that Vogel goes, oh, like across it. You know what I mean? Like just long, like deep, heavy screams that carry that fast, that take it away from it being...
It's true. It's a different... That's right.
Because he's really bringing that Hatebreed school to the fast youth group.
Yes. So it's a different attack on like fast music instead of like singing a little more fast and rhythmically. Vogel has like, I mean, he has one of the greatest voices in the history of hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
I mean,
because just the lowest of the low, you know, it starts so youth crewy, but and a bit integrity-ish, you know, like fast integ.
Well, it's got the tremolo picking, just like, and that's where you back to Todd. You know?
yeah.
But the fact that Vogel screams over the entire first 30 seconds of it makes it like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I'm gonna kill someone.
And even like an example of that, like for the breakdown of "Don't Need Your Help," where it's
we
like,
getting a little? Someone's mic being weird.
No.
Check. Okay,
So
sorry.
the don't need your
on
help.
"Don't Need Your Help," you know, with the breakdown, that's like, and if you slowed that just a little bit down, you would just be in a Madball type groove. But then Todd's just gives it, speeds it up a little bit, and then you just get this.
Yes.
I don't know. Like you just feel like your heart is just fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know. It hits all the fucking bases.
It's a beautiful record.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it's
really
like it is. I mean, like Daniel says, there's kind of. I think the Hatebreed record changed hardcore because there wasn't breakdowns in every song before it. But this album is like, it literally is like the start of modern hardcore.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's still felt today.
and everything has to get compared against it moving forward, including their albums, right? That's hard that all their albums get compared to this.
Another testament to this record is, I don't name him, but he's more of like a punk dude. And he really only knew Terror from like, we're talking later era Terror. So he was just like totally not about it, which I could understand. And he did not hear Lowest of the Low. So we played it for him. And he was just like, holy shit, I didn't know they could play this fucking fast.
Yeah.
You know, and then he immediately hit like, what happened?
Yeah. Well, some of their later stuff goes really hard and fast.
No,
so.
and I will be discussing one in my picks. Like, absolutely.
Just the song Push It Away, like, you know, so they've got all these sounds that we're talking about, but then Push It Away is like, got the ring out and the bounce and
he's got the mid-tempo
the
mid-tempo banger with like the hard breakdown on the end. Yeah, perfect, catchy. To be so hard and so catchy, good luck. No one can do that.
Dude, the fucking, once again, I always say this, the production on this one is just...
Well,
they went to Mars.
They went to Mars, and we can talk about why on the Patreon. No, but they're going to get that Mars sound.
Yeah.
Right? Because of certain records that were recorded at Mars. They sounded perfect.
And how good is the human furnace?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would just like to chill with Human Furnace. You know, that's enough for me, even if he doesn't sing on the record.
True.
All right. So moving on to the next one. Dano, you should probably talk about this one the most because I think it hit you the most out of the three of us. American Nightmare background music.
Yeah.
And I can say that when they hit, like they were, I mean, it was like nothing. Again, total game changer before and after, right? but I didn't really, and I saw them a lot, and and looking back on it, we played with them a lot. So, I mean, they were always awesome, but it didn't connect with me. Like the demo didn't connect, the 7 inches did not connect, and then
the demo's weak. This is a band where you hear the demo and you're like, oh, people are flipping out about this band, really? And then you hear,
but they probably heard the demo and saw them
7-inch.
live, right? They were probably never shitty live because they were all veterans. Because even like,
But they weren't.
but
Like,
they
there
were.
was a
It was
roadie,
like
singing,
yeah. But he was the roadie that went on tour with 10 Hour Fight and moshed for every single song.
Yeah.
So like he was an active participant.
Oh no! I'm just saying, like, for what this person, the singer Wes, brings to the game as your first band, this is like an immense contribution that had never been done.
Right. So just my own personal little
Or
take.
not never been done. It had been done in other genres. It had never been brought to like the blistering, pace that this band has.
It got done by a white nationalist named Morrissey.
Shut up.
So Wes is way cooler than that. But I didn't fall in love with it actually until this record. And I love this record because his voice is like a fucking blender.
Yeah.
Like, and I always thought like in the late 90s, like a lot of those bands that played the style of music I liked, like the Youth Crew Revival, I thought the singing was so safe. Like it was like not a gnarly voice. And like it's almost just like, oh, the singer is like just the dude that got hired to be in the band, and his voice sounds kind of nice.
Well,
and I always wondered.
I always felt, and that's a really good point. What I always felt about those Youth Crew Revival bands is that they listened to the bands that came up around YOT and a few others, but never listened to the bands that it's referencing more than anything, because they weren't screaming. They were like, it's all right, man. Blah, blah, blah. And they...
And you would think, too, is Ray Capo still has the most fucking ridiculous vocals.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was always.
That's what.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at here is like, during that time, I was like, will there ever be another time where there's a band as famous as Youth of Today that can get away with having a crazy singer? And here you go. Like, this voice is fucking offensive.
But the thing is, when you match this, like, absolute, I'm singing, every last vocal cord is exploding, the desperation that I'm singing with is met with the desperation in the lyrics.
That's why it works. It's because his voice sounding this shredded and insane, it's a fucking musical instrument.
Yeah.
See, what's that noise?
Oh, I think that's my phone.
Oh, word.
The cable,
Okay, cool.
So there's a little interference.
No, I was just making sure that it wasn't something else. No, but his voice being so shredded like that, it comes off as like a musical instrument. And like I don't know, it just, it adds such like a texture to the music that is insane. And he doesn't sound like that on the 7 inches, and I think that's why I don't like it as much.
He does, but it's
not as insane.
But it doesn't have the songs developed
this is straight
as
up
much
like
as on the LP, where...
But this is straight up like a grindy ass voice. This is like...
No, it's more...
It's pretty fucking crazy, dude. It's crazy for something that got that popular to have someone's voice sound that fucking shredded.
Yeah. Basically, these are, before it's passé, this singer, Wes, is taking all the inspiration he's had from bands like Unbroken and stuff within hardcore, but then all his vast, half of these lyrics could have been, written by Ian Curtis, and that like Suicide Note style that has come through the lyrics, and the desperation and the unhappiness and the depression, it gets aped a million times by a million bands that don't do it right, and they're only doing it to tap into this. This is
always a fucking airplane.
Yeah. But this is authentic. Like, this is why it hit so hard with everyone, because
what does aped mean?
Copied.
I haven't even heard it before.
No?
Not street enough, dude.
But I think with this record, like, you should get a straw.
I know, that's whack, huh?
I feel like this record hit with so many people because the fact that within hardcore, people can feel like they're part of the scene, but they're also left out. And I think these lyrics really, I mean, they're probably one of the most tattooed, like, lyric bands that have ever come out of hardcore, I would think.
Well, I remember, what was that? Because he'll just release just some of his writings, and they just go immediately. I'm trying to remember there's like a collection. Yeah, and that thing just like went. So I personally, I never saw this band when they were at, their peak. I remember, hearing about it later, and I remember liking it, but it not really clicking with me. I was first thing I was like, oh, these fucking vocals are crazy, but it just wasn't doing it for me because it also had that whole, like you said, that aesthetic of like suicide note type lettering, and that just appeals. Obviously, like, it struck a nerve, and it's genuine, and that's why the band had like the impact that they did, especially just like taking that fast Youth Crew sound and just actually like just juicing
taking it to the edge of a cliff, like literally, like, we mean this, we're fucking prepared to die for it.
Yeah, so you hear it immediately, so I completely understand like the impact that the band had. Never really did it for.
Well, that's why I can understand why it didn't work for you as much, because you were coming around that being the time where all those other bands were copying and doing it bad, and it watered down what this was.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, this would have been a bomb after, especially for them to come out after like all the Boston like Youth Crew things, and then you just get hit with this. So I get why, people were probably waiting for this. They wanted something that could take like what they loved about all the hardcore they liked, all the Youth Crew that they liked, and just really, and like you said, not give it that safe, not make it safe, like make it an emotional place, take it, go deeper with it. So,
well, and all the artwork and everything really represented the same kind of feeling that the music had. It was like a complete thought out package, This is when Jake Benham was doing like the best layouts and stuff. Like, and
are you saying he's not anymore?
Yeah, maybe, I guess. Maybe I don't pay attention enough. But I'm just saying, like, this pairs up really well with what it is.
No, it's nice. When did you see them?
I never saw them.
Oh, okay.
I never saw them.
You made it seem like you didn't see them on their party. Maybe you saw it come back.
No, that's what I meant, to rephrase that. No, I never saw them at their peak. I never saw the reunions or anything like that. So
they were something.
Yeah, well, I mean, just the way that they approached doing straightforward hardcore shows, but having the gate on the delay, like,
so they didn't have to talk in between the songs. They had that, like, it was so fucking brilliant.
So they were
could tune.
They were the first to do. Oh yeah,
I mean, at least the first, like, that I noticed
in our world
to dial that in.
Yeah, and it's so rad too, because what are you going to say about the songs? You want them to speak for themselves. Almost anything you add, it's like it'll water it down a little bit. So
sure.
So him just not ever talking.
It gives it that whole mysterious.
Well, it made them hit so much harder too, because you didn't know when they were coming back into a song, and it would be like,
and it came in so tight,
without.
And it just wasn't lame, dude.
Yeah.
If I got like a little bit of lameness off it, I would tell you, like, because it wasn't my thing.
No,
it was undeniable.
Yeah. I'm not saying like anything against them, just for some reason it just never.
They were the real deal.
Well, that's why
on this record.
Just, I mean, if you miss the time, it can never make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like many things.
Like we discussed on the 7-inches, like the Unbroken stuff doesn't hit you, but if the urgency is 50% of why these things are amazing, like it's
hardcore
records,
music,
exactly.
It's hardcore music. Like a lot of it is for live participation. You're listening to this. You're listening to albums in a car with your friends, and you're like, I can't wait till I see them because I'm gonna stage dive to that part. I'm gonna mosh to that part. And if you take that piece of hardcore out, it's It's a little different.
And then I think it goes a little bit further with bands like this, where you emotionally connect to something so much harder, where you're like,
I'm going to cry to that part.
or I have cried to that part at home, and I'm going to get it tattooed on my neck.
Yeah, I'm going to
like,
jump off the speaker and maybe kill myself to that part.
Yeah, for real. Like, or just, it's been a late night conversation with your friend where you're like, you've discussed that song and you've both come to the same place and you're like, yeah.
You're going to hug that guy in the pit so much harder because you've had that cry together.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why so much of these types of like lyrics and bands that push this stuff just doesn't register with me. I'm not saying that I don't have those types of feelings. Everyone has those types of feelings, but I don't know why I just don't want to hear it in hardcore.
Well, people like music for different reasons.
Yeah, and maybe I need my hardcore to just always be like this, like more stronger. Like, nah, like this is what we fucking hate about society. Like, I want it to be this Superman thing, and that's probably me projecting my own insecurities about like how I don't want to
crack open
and be vulnerable, because I can do that, but I don't know, people handle their emotions differently than I do, so I'm aware of that. So that's why when I see like an American Nightmare type situation, I'm like, yeah, he's speaking to a bunch of people. I just don't,
but again, people just like, they like music for different reasons. Like,
so that's
like, we don't really like pop music. Daniel, you're into like, you know, a segment of pop music, like Britpop or whatever, but that's not like happy, right? Super happy. Like, we're not listening to radio pop music, and a lot of people are. So, like, a lot of people, they just want to turn on a song and make it feel happy.
Yeah, but
some people want to turn on a song and, like, feel depressed. And, like, dude, I'm not coming home from work and putting on Joy Division. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I have no, but here's the thing. Like,
I'm listening to it at work and then putting it on when I come home.
For me, it's a late night drive. Like, that's when I like Joy Division.
No, I have no problem listening to songs that deal with themes like that and different types of genres of music that I actually really like, and that I can listen to like pieces of music or other songs and like whatever category, whether it be, you know, like an old blues song, jazz song, you know, R&B song about like heartbreak or love, like those things can like really register with me. Just so I'm not like, it's not like I can't ever have those types of feelings. It's just for some reason when it comes to like,
you want your hardcore hard.
Yeah, and I feel dumb saying that, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I said, it's like I need it to be this, you know, thing where, like, in order for me to like deal with my shit, you know, it's just like.
But I think that's what's great. You're terming it as like, I want hardcore to smash society, you know. So it's got more of a. I want it to
lift me up, you know, and then
this kind of hardcore is insular and going further in and heart on the sleeve and going deep to the other side of things where, you know, the aggression is almost coming inward. Like, I'm analyzing my thing. I'm ready to fucking...
But they're the one that can do this.
No, and I agree that. And I think when you brought up the point where I'm
but
coming
musically
in
it's totally different.
After this has been dropped, so I'm just seeing nothing but like
the have-hearts and whatnot.
And all that shit is just fucking whiny to me.
Well,
like,
it's hard. It's hard. It's also like, it's hard to look past fans. You know, like that's what you have to do. Like, you have to appreciate the artist and not worry about how fans are. Yeah. But like, you know, a bunch of people changing their look to look like Wes, is lame. You know, it was hard to look past that. Like, oh, this whole thing is lame.
That's why I think.
But it's too good. It's undeniable.
When In Control was playing with them a lot, I think there was, you know, because you and I are tight friends as this was happening, and I felt because certain people were jocking them so hard that you were like, I'm not even gonna give it my 100%. Do you know what I mean?
I think that might be fair.
Because you were like, I roll at these people being like this instead of let me actually see what the source is. You know
we're a bunch of normal like beach dudes.
Yeah, but
right?
You know what I mean.
Like, yeah, but you got it. The Oxnard kids have like, there is no fashion.
No, for sure, but
right?
But-
Like there's no fashion. So like anytime that someone's like grabbing onto an aesthetic of like, you know, like you got to wear like nice jeans or you got to like spend time on your appearance, like that's like that's
gonna
just
be
never been us.
Yeah, and you're gonna be suspect of it too, because you're gonna be like, "Oh, you're just a fucking poser." Like, are you just?
Well, it's like what's how where do you draw the line between that and Motley Crue dressing up for Shout at the Devil?
Yeah,
You
without
know,
a doubt.
like it's
But
a
to
slippery
me,
slope.
well, that's
where
just
I've
as
always come
fucking
from.
cool. I mean, like, you know,
style has always mattered to me. Pre-hardcore, pre-punk.
No, I know
anything,
you guys talk a
I've-
lot about like the style of how people look on the records and stuff, and that shit
could-
doesn't matter to me
Yeah.
other than like the integrity jump on the back of fucking.
But to me, that's always been, I grew up in the north of England, and just like working class people, style was the escape from what you were trapped in, and my first pocket money was all saved up to buy Adidas Run DMCs. Like I
don't judge it. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
definitely
No,
me,
but
definitely
I
me at
understand.
20 and 21. That was not me.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know,
I know.
And now I look fucking slick as fuck all the time.
But anyway, important record, definitely Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And we're finally like going in on these Hall of Fames like you always wanted, huh? We're finally
Yeah.
getting that stretch. The one night that Greg's got to get out early.
no, I will
We'll
gladly
take our time.
I will gladly go to not sleep to finish.
All right.
Yeah.
The
Well, this
O's.
is a good one. So
The final entry to the 2000s Hall of Fame is
it's fucking undeniable for a game changer. The first tragedy record in 2000.
yeah.
Conditioned inside and out.
I mean, insane. Like the way that they tapped into the D-beat style with like the
But
Like
using
the
those
darker-
pedals to do the wild, like
well, it's all they do all the
neurosis.
octave work. They're doing all the octave stuff, and it's like melodic, but it's dark melodic, but it's like not technical, but it is technical, and it's like they're not doing anything metal related. It's like they're doing all the raddest shit of punk and metal, but always leaning punk.
Why do you think this crossed over to so many different other types of people?
Because of the melody. They tapped into the melody, and it's just undeniable. It's fucking epic, but it's like the
It's
most
the dirtiest sounding melody.
well, that's the thing
ever.
is like
that's why it's perfect.
to make songs that epic sounding without like having a touch of metal is insane. I mean, it's another game changer.
Well, isn't members of Tragedy or a member of Tragedy and Criminal Damage?
Yes,
Yeah.
after. Yeah, I think one of the drummer of Tragedy is like the singer guitarist of Criminal Damage.
Because I see the ability to do melody dirty in a different way there.
Oh yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So I see them like catchiness is good, but we're gonna run it through this fucking
run it through that fucking Portland blender.
yeah. We're gonna put dreads on this melody,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I mean the Criminal Damage stuff is amazing too, but it's just another stab at street punk music.
It's just
Right.
blitz.
And it's great.
It's blitz done by Tragedy, essentially.
It's great.
You know,
Yeah, a less catchy blitz.
yeah, just
A little under. It's amazing. But yeah, this Tragedy record, again, you have all the clones coming out right after it, which is you got to look past all that shit and just appreciate Tragedy for being Tragedy. And I actually like the second record even more. I like Vengeance.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's even better. But
But we got to say the ground zero is where the change
Yes.
changed
Yeah, of
comes
course.
because members of His Heroes Gone
That's right.
and the not as great Death Threat.
that's right, the one-word death threat.
Yeah. And there's a million people. Well, not a million. We've got to get 1 million listeners before I say that. But
1 million. You want to know what I'm scratching for first?
there are about 25 people screaming at their earphones or whatever right now because I said the not so good Death Threat.
Oh, come on. I think that people will be happy that we have this on here
Oh,
because it has to
actually
get mentioned.
bummed out. who was it?
Don? Yeah,
No,
he gets
I-
bummed a lot.
I played.
Chad Strout gets mad at me every time I say the other Death Threat's the best one.
There was a band.
Shout out Chad.
I played in briefly. It was called Pathetic Society, and I remember we played a gig, and that was just very, very just super aggressive early '80s hardcore. Just really loud.
Get the fuck away from me.
Oh God, none of that. So, and I remember we played, and like I don't really know anything about the other Death Threat. That's why I always refer to him as the other Death
Yeah.
Threat. And so, I think it was like some dude in Primal Right or whatever. But we opened at that show at the Shea, and like they really really liked us, and he was talking to me. He's a really super nice guy, and I remember he was like, "Oh yeah, like you guys have that early Death Threat sound." And I was like, "Really?"
Don't want to get hit. Don't stand in the front.
And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, damn, that's weird. Like, I don't think we sound like anything like with some Connecticut.
There's no
we
piccolo
are in
snare.
SDF.
There's no piccolo snare.
No, I was like, I was like, I don't think we sound like any type of Connecticut hardcore shit. And he was just like, oh no, not that Death Threat.
People get offended.
No, I was like, no, that's the fucking only Death Threat, bro.
I feel that people that like the Connecticut Death Threat are more open to the other one
And
than
it's-
vice
yeah.
versa, because those people that like the other Death Threat, the one-word Death Threat, do not like the Connecticut Death Threat.
but that's
I wish
that
they had a
whole-
split together.
They should have,
so
right?
sick.
If 25 to Life and Spaz did, Well, someone should bootleg it. Just put a song from each,
Just put it out yourself.
Yeah. Fuck it.
I'm not talking shit about that guy in Promo. He's really fucking cool, dude.
For sure. Shout out to that dude.
Yeah.
Become a Patreon, bro. Anyway. Okay, anything we need to touch on from the last one? This is going to be less inflammatory because apparently Fugazi didn't put out a record in the 2000s. I think they did.
Yeah,
You
it's
just didn't
not
like
on my
it?
list.
Oh, well. But they're punker than anyone on your list, dude. So it's all about the ethics, not the music, man.
Well, I I have the a New Order record. No, just kidding.
I saw you put one on your list to try to be controversial, but we're not going to let it. We're just gonna.
It's not to try. It's the one that
we're gonna no sell.
back to
We're gonna
all the
no
time.
sell your record so we can get Greg home.
we're gonna get a
No,
pop.
I actually
Gonna get a
like
big pop.
No, I just like those. I liked those when they would come in because you would just hear the pause on the actual podcast of just like you and I just.
I know. Well, I not to get back to it, but I don't understand that at all. Like I feel like
My friend texted me and said, "Hey, I'm listening to the pod right now, and I just got to Embrace Gate."
I don't know how you call them hardcore bands when the whole purpose of the band is to not be a hardcore band.
It's not though.
It is though.
It's not.
It is though.
And
So this is where you
all of
disagree.
the UK, like all my UK hardcore friends, they all shout out to the WhatsApp group,
Shout out Dead Man's Chest.
but they all were like, "I fucking hate when people don't say Embrace is a hardcore band."
They're a great indie rock band. One of the best.
Anyway, we're going off
No,
topic
they should
again.
they should be like, no, Embrace is not a hardcore band, and they should just talk about how Knuckle Dust might possibly be one of the best UK hardcore exports of all time.
It's a
Rikers.
they're German.
They're German.
Yeah.
I was saying UK. Or no, I was saying East or Western Europe.
You're just thinking, well, what came out on in that time from Europe? Anyway, let's get to our lists.
It started off,
Zach,
dude.
you go first.
Okay. I am gonna start with the two best records of the 2000s, which is Retaliate Coup d'etat and Retaliate We Are One.
I was right. I knew from the start I knew that I was right. But you can retaliate. You can't take this away from me. As long as my heart still beats. You can't take this away from me. As long as my lungs still.
In 2006 and 2009. And the reason why I say it, and I'm sure if we got to the 2010s, Greg would say the same thing. I write music because I love music. These are my favorite fucking records. I listen to my own band more than any other band. And we're the best fucking band. So that's all I got to say.
I mean, the Facebook literally just says, is the best.
Yeah, Retaliate is the best. And we are. So what's up? You got a new record coming out either later this year or early next year. And we'll be one of the rare hardcore bands that will have put out 4 perfect LPs. And that's that.
I'm trying to process what I want to say about Retaliate. First of all, let's just talk about being not in I mean, this is I'm not blowing smoke up your ass here. Like, we're fucking criminally underrated. A complete Southern California gem. Absolutely. And I think definitely inspiring. Like, I don't think we're going to have down pressers or violations without, the first Retaliate record. And just kind of what I thought was so great about it was it was heavy, but it was still fun. And it still, like, I mean, that night was great. Moshing to Retaliate. Like, it was just, like, I didn't get there's no fucking ego. There was no, like, this tough guy.
No
pose.
ego. He just said these are the 2 best hardcore records of all time.
Well, no, our third record is the best.
Yeah,
it's 2011.
So I just remember instantly. I mean, just how the songs are just put together, and just, I mean, Coup d'etat is a fucking instant classic.
Yeah.
But I definitely like fuck, what's the name?
We Are One.
Yeah, we are one. Especially Dogs of War.
Yeah.
When you're like, non-statistical casualties.
Well, that's one of the things I like to do in a band is make up words. That's another thing I love about hip hop is like you just make a word that fits. So non-statistical, that's not a word. I just put it in a song.
It fucking works
Yeah.
so well.
I
Yes.
like both these records.
I wasn't making this segment for us to talk about it. I was gonna say it and move on.
No, I want to fucking talk about Retaliate right
Well,
Well, I like both these
we can
records
all-
except for the vocals.
We can all fillet each other in a triangle because we could all blow each other's bands. Take Offense is all 2010s, or you guys would be on my list.